The city shimmered under the deceptive glow of post-war optimism, neon lights, polished convertibles, and dreams as high as the Hollywood sign. But beneath the glamour, darkness pulsed through the alleys and vacant lots. And into that darkness walked Elizabeth Short, a 22-year-old aspiring actress whose haunting beauty and tragic fate would etch her name into true crime history. Known by friends as Beth, she had left behind a fractured family in Massachusetts to chase a Hollywood dream. With her jet black hair, porcelain skin, and a touch of vulnerability in her smile, she seemed destined for the silver screen. But to the city's underbelly, a world of broken promises, sleazy producers, and dangerous men, she was just another pretty face caught in the crossfire of ambition and exploitation. For weeks, she drifted from bar to boarding house, clinging to hope, scribbling movie ideas in cheap notebooks, and sending letters to her mother filled with false promises of success. But on January 9th, 1947, Elizabeth vanished, swallowed whole by the city that had once promised her everything. Action the morning of January 15th, 1947, dawned over a desolate lot near South Norton Avenue in Los Angeles. A young mother pushing her baby's stroller stopped in disbelief. There in the dirt lay what she thought was a mannequin, pale, perfectly posed, sliced in half at the waist. It wasn't a mannequin. It was Elizabeth Short. Her body was drained of blood, meticulously cleaned, and mutilated with surgical precision. A grotesque smile had been carved into her face from ear to ear. The scene was so surreal that police officers later admitted they had never witnessed such a display of calculated cruelty. Reporters swarmed like vultures. The Los Angeles Examiner dubbed her the Black Dahlia, a grim play on her dark hair and penchant for sheer black clothing, and a nod to the recent film The Blue Dahlia. Overnight, Elizabeth Short became both victim and icon, her tragedy commodified, her humanity lost beneath headlines and flashbulbs. Detectives found no fingerprints, no clear motive, and no consistent suspects. The case spiraled into chaos as the media interfered with the investigation. Hungry for sensationalism, more than 150 suspects were questioned. Actors, drifters, servicemen, doctors. Among them, one name surfaced again and again. Dr. George Hodel, a wealthy, eccentric physician known for his dark humor, artistic tastes, and rumored involvement in underground parties filled with scandal and excess. Hodel lived in a striking Spanish Revival mansion called the Soden House, infamous for its labyrinthine halls and eerie atmosphere. He hosted surreal gatherings that blurred art and depravity, often photographing women in bizarre, disturbing poses. Detectives wiretapped Hodel's home years later and recorded him saying, "Supposin' I did kill the Black Dahlia. They couldn't prove it now. They can't talk to my secretary anymore. She's dead." Still, there was no concrete evidence, and Hodel vanished abroad before charges could be brought. Meanwhile, false confessions flooded in, more than 50 in total. Some sought fame, others forgiveness, but none matched the killer's clinical precision or knowledge of the crime scene. Elizabeth's letters, mailed in newspapers, signed only the Black Dahlia Avenger, mocked police with cryptic clues. Some handwriting experts linked them to Hodel. Others claimed they were the work of a deranged imitator. The LAPD's Homicide Bureau became a battlefield of politics and public pressure. Evidence disappeared, leads died off, and the press eventually moved on. But the ghost of Elizabeth Short never did. In the decades that followed, theories multiplied. Some pointed to a sadistic surgeon obsessed with control. Others whispered about police corruption. That Elizabeth's killer was protected by powerful men. In the early 2000s, retired LAPD Detective Steve Hodel, George Hodel's son, reopened the wounds. While sorting through his late father's belongings, Steve found photographs of a woman who looked disturbingly like Elizabeth Short. His investigation revealed links between his father and several other unsolved murders, women who vanished and were found with surgical mutilations eerily similar to Elizabeth's. DNA testing of some evidence hinted at connections, but never delivered certainty. And the Soden House, with its strange acoustics and maze-like design, became a monument to suspicion, its walls still echoing with unanswered questions. Did George Hodel kill Elizabeth Short? Or was the Black Dahlia merely one of Hollywood's many sacrifices to its own appetite for fame and ruin? Nearly 80 years later, the murder of Elizabeth Short remains unsolved. one of the most disturbing and iconic cases in American history. Her name endures not because of how she lived, but how she was erased. Her body transformed into a symbol of Los Angeles' darkest contradictions: beauty and brutality, fame and oblivion. The Black Dahlia story forces us to confront the truth behind Hollywood's glimmering facade, that in a city built on dreams, some are devoured to feed the myth. And as the neon lights still flicker across Los Angeles, her shadow lingers, a whisper from 1947 reminding us that some stars never fade, they're simply lost in the dark.